guys, thanks for stopping by my channel today. My name is Gina and I am going to share with you my travel makeup bag. And so I did one of these, I think it was about a year ago, and I announced in that video, I will actually link that video because it's kind of fun to see what I've changed and actually what's actually still stayed the same. I think I announced in that video that I was an obsessive compulsive like pack rat. And so in my travel makeup bag, I bring a lot, because I like to have options. I don't know what my skin is going to be doing when I am on my cruise to Bermuda. I am so excited. If you've never cruised before, then you're definitely missing out because everything is just so simple and you don't really have to worry about money per se, especially when you travel with a whole bunch of people. I am going with family, so that wouldn't be a big deal anyway, but it just makes things so nice and easy. And I love cruising because it forces you to relax, but then at the same time, you can be very active and do like a ton of things. I learned to juggle on a cruise once. I probably still haven't maintained that skill, but I was pretty like smoking that day that I learned it in a room full of other people, many of whom were seniors, but that's okay. I really do love cruising, and I've been to Alaska on a cruise, I've been to the Caribbean on a cruise, and now I'm heading to Bermuda. So my point though is I like to take a lot of stuff. I like to know what other people take, which is why I like watching these videos. And I like to take a lot, but I like to make sure I have a good variety of options. And so if you're interested in finding out what made the cut and what I felt was important to me to take with me on my cruise, then just keep watching. So let me start with the tools that I bring with me, and I've got quite a few, of course. This is a little packet that holds onto, originally came with my Tweezerman tweezers. Do I still have Tweezerman tweezers in here? Yes, I have the very fine-tipped Tweezerman tweezers because I use this to get dog hair and other things out of my eyes. My eyes are like a magnet, and because I'm wearing a lot of mascara, you can't rub your eye and get it out, obviously, and I use tweezers. I know that freaks some people out, but I am okay with it because the relief that you feel when you remove said hair or whatever else has crawled into your eye is just intense and amazing. So I also use those pointy tip tweezers to separate my lashes when they tend to gunk together due to mascara application. I've also got the Anastasia slanted tweezers. That is for actual tweezing. And I also have a pair of, these are from Morphe actually. These are little brow scissors, which specifically you would use for your brows, but you also, when you're traveling, never know when you're going to need a cutting form of a tool. And so those actually wind up filling that need whenever I need it. I am, of course, bringing my Veromona color switch because I also like to use this when I store my brushes, especially when traveling, because I don't have them just kind of set up very loosely in different containers and mugs on my vanity. I typically will clean off and wipe off every single brush before I put it back in the container that I've traveled with, because those brushes tend to touch each other a lot. That sounded naughty. Those brushes are touching each other in ways that they don't normally. And so I don't want to put dark outer corner eyeshadow against my bronzer brush or blush brush, for example. And so that color switch winds up coming in handy. I've got two different, which I have in a little plastic bag because I hate when pencil shavings get all over the place. I've got two sharpeners. One is for lip liner. One is for eyeliner, because I also hate when one contaminates the other, so I have two separate sharpeners for that. Okay, can you see? I'm like OCD pack rat. The sharpeners I have, one is from Chanel and one is from Clinique. People definitely invest in a more expensive than $1 pencil sharpener for lip liners and eyeliners, because they are actually much sharper and they do a much nicer job, which will prolong the life of the very expensive pencils that you might be using. I've got my eyelash curler. This guy is not silver because he is the wide-eyed, kind of almond-eyed eyelash curler by Tweezerman, which I love because I have wide, large, some might reference cow-shaped eyes, and so I definitely don't wind up crimping my lashes halfway through because it winds up spreading out over the entire width of my eyes. And so that's pretty good. Okay, so I've got some primers. I've talked recently about the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Smoothing Primer that also has argan oil in it. And it just kind of smooths out your pores and smooths out your skin. Just kind of a general friendly primer. I'm also bringing a really tiny, this is obviously not, this is just a bland looking little container. This is the Nivea for Men, there it is, Post Shave Balm Primer, because I find that this is a little bit more moisturizing than the smoothing primer. And so I don't really know what my skin is going to be doing. Even though this has argan oil in it, I'm going to like warmer temperatures, and I really don't know what my skin is going to be doing. And I think your makeup will sit best when it's got the right primer underneath it, which is also why I have 2 more primers, but they're small. I'm of course bringing my Becca Evermatte Poreless Priming Perfector. This will mattify me if I happen to be very oily and greasy in the warmth, but also alternatively, if the sun and the warmth winds up drying out my skin, can you believe this? Like, my skin can go either way. Like, it really could throw me for a curveball, which is why I have to be prepared on all corners. This is by Too Faced. This is the Hangover RX Primer. This is, it's got coconut water in it, and it's very friendly, and it's kind of, not necessarily a moisturizing primer, but it is not a mattifying or smoothing primer. And so sometimes my skin needs that extra kick so that it doesn't look all lizard-like. Are there lizards in Bermuda? I know there are lizards in Florida. It's warm in Bermuda. Am I going to find lizards in Bermuda? I love little lizards. Those are so cute. Spiders, on the other hand, stay away. I have a series of setting powders because they all like kind of do different things. And again, I don't really know what I'm going to need. I'm going to bring my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish setting powder. I am in the shade Medium Plus. It's nice because it sets without being 100% mattifying. I've got 2 by Laura Mercier. I've got the tiny baby size of the Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I really like to use this underneath my eyes. I also decided to invest in the pressed version, which kind of got mixed reviews. Everybody says it has a lot of powder pickup, and honestly, I like that because I normally would use the loose powder, and I want to be able to have the convenience and the ease of it in pressed. And so I'm not bringing the huge, big translucent loose setting powder container, but my powder brush, like when I want to apply it to all over my face, really doesn't fit in this tiny little guy. And so I decided to kind of find the happy medium, and I invested in the pressed powder as well. People were saying they go through it really quick, but you know what? You go through loose powder really quick too, so how are you going to complain? I've got by Makeup Forever a little travel size of the HD High Definition powder. This is that white, very silky, translucent powder. If you want to just kind of almost like blur the lines of your makeup, I sometimes will use this as a final step right before my highlighter so that I can kind of get everything to blend in and just sit very, very nicely. Also for underneath my eyes, I have by MAC the Emphasize powder. I like using this because my under eye concealer, which I'll talk about in a second, is a little bit, it's not very brightening. It more matches my skin tone, which is good because then I can kind of use that same concealer kind of all over my face. But I want to add an element of brightening, and this MAC Emphasize powder, which has a little bit of a shimmer to it, will wind up just kind of adding that extra kick just underneath my eyes so that I don't have to wind up using a different concealer for underneath my eyes. Actually, so let's talk about concealer. I'm taking 2, both of them are by NARS because I love them so. They also have the same name. I've got the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Custard, which is actually a little bit lighter than the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, which is also in Custard. I really love this particular concealer, the Soft Matte Creamy Concealer. I use it everywhere. This is the concealer that requires the MAC Emphasize because this really is, even though it's named Custard also, it really is much more matched to my skin tone, whereas the Custard in the liquid is actually a hair lighter, and I don't ever need to lighten it, and it winds up just doing very nicely under my eyes. Again, I don't really know what my skin's going to want in the different temperature, and so I brought 2 varieties. I really love NARS concealers. I believe they do really well with that. I'm also bringing by Bobbi Brown the Under Eye Corrector in this tiny little guy. I am in the shade Light to Medium Peach. This is because whenever I travel, I develop and take with me the most excessive under eye dark circles and just kind of unhappiness going on underneath my eyes. And so I'm dehydrated when I travel, and I'm just tired because I'm trying to do so much. And so I might need to do some correcting under there as well. The other concealer I take is by Bare Minerals. It's the matte formula of the loose pressed foundation. This is for when my skin breaks out, also as a result of traveling. And it is the best zit concealer ever. It winds up just staying in place, doesn't attach to whatever kind of dry patchiness a zit might give you as you're trying to dry it out and you apply different topical medications to it. It is the best blending in concealer that I have found for things called pimples that I really should have stopped getting, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, but I still seem to maintain a relationship with. I have a couple of foundations, again, just to kind of serve my purposes. I am bringing by Anastasia the foundation stick because it's super easy to apply, gives me really nice coverage, isn't too much or too little, just like right in the middle. I am also taking by Urban Decay the All-Nighter foundation, just in case I'm interested in having my makeup stay in place, depending on what kind of plans we have, particularly in the evening. I am also bringing 2 shades of the Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. This for me is like a BB cream. Most of the time I find that BB creams are just really too thin and I just wind up applying them and they don't really even out my skin tone because it's so awful, and they don't really cover up anything that I'm trying to hide because, again, my skin is so awful. But this is really a very nice and kind of, if you apply it very thinly, you can get a very thin application. I've got 2 shades just in case my skin changes with being underneath the sun, even though I've got tons of sunscreen. I found that the last time that I went to Hawaii, despite the sunscreen, I went to apply foundation that I had brought with me thinking I was not going to have a problem, and I made myself look like a pasty white ghost. Oh my gosh, it totally did not match. And so I've got 2 shades, the shade 40 in Nude and 15 in Ivory. I wanted to bring the Born This Way foundation. I think that foundation is like the most perfect consistency because it's got a little bit of dewy hydration to it, but it isn't like meant for dry skin, so that it's just a really controlled kind of nice finish. But I hate the big chunky bottle. This bottle is huge, it's glass, and it just made me mad. And based on packaging alone, it did not make the cut. I realized I should have talked about this in the beginning, but I don't care. So I was keeping all of my makeup. I actually used this last year because I really like the idea of a big hole. I like to put all of my makeup into a nice wide surface area so that I can kind of find things. And then I realized when I put everything in this container, I could find nothing. Everything was just, all my departments of makeup were just kind of all put together. And so what I decided to do instead was I put all of my face products, all those products I just showed you, they all live in the bottom of the bag. They are the face and concealing and setting. All of those guys go in there. Once I put those in that bag, then I have another makeup case. This guy I actually got from Kohl's. Isn't that pretty? It's navy and white. It's like very nautical. I love that it opens so widely, and it also has a net that's in the center, so it actually has 2 different sections because these are 2 more departments of makeup that I have. And what I do is I zip it closed and then I stack it right on top inside the pink and black bag. And so I've got 2 other, well, kind of departments of makeup. Since we're still working on my face, let me talk about the rest of the face department. That's on one side of my little net. So when it comes to bronzers, big surprise. I'm bringing Hoola bronzer in the original, and then wait for it. I can't wait to show you this. Ready? Here we go. Look what's up here. Up here is Hoola Light. I wound up actually, I ripped apart the box. I'm sorry. I cannot stand this packaging, but I ripped apart the box of Hoola Light, and I took some, what do you call it? Hot glue, like in a glue gun, because you could take that off really, really easily. It's not meant to last forever. And I hot glued that bad boy right to the top, on top of the mirror. And so now I've got Hoola Original and Hoola Light, and I love both of them, and I think those will work really nicely. I'm also bringing with me another bronzer. This is a travel size by Laura Mercier. This is the Bronze 03 shade. This is part of that, I don't know why they call it the Matte Baked Radiance line, because this bronzer actually has a little bit of shimmer to it. And so I've got a matte bronzer one that I can contour with, and then a lighter bronzer with Hula Light. And then in case I want to like shimmer a little bit, I decided I wanted to bring a very tiny and cute little shimmery sort of bronzer. It's not like glittery. It just glitterily. It's glitterly. It's not glittery, but like I said, it does have like a sheen to it, and so that's pretty good when it comes to a bronzer, because you don't want to have a reflective bronzer on. Let me see, I got a couple other powders. I brought with me also, and even though this is kind of a setting powder, I use this more as an illuminator. This is by Hourglass. This is the Luminous Light Ambient Lighting Powder. I use this either as a purposeful highlighter if I want to go very subtle, or I can just kind of use this to kind of luminize my entire face without having to use like illuminating primer, because that might be a little bit too much for me because I've got combination skin. I've also got, when it comes to highlighters, I've got a tiny little baby by Tarte. This is the exposed highlighter. So the Hourglass highlighter is kind of like a peachy neutral sort of a highlighter. This one is a little bit more golden, and I thought I'm going to be in the warm temperatures of Bermuda. I might want to have a luminous golden glow going on. A luminous golden glow going on. And so I got this from the Sephora VIB sale. So it's a little travel size. It came in the Bronze and Glow by Tarte, the Bronze and Glow kind of highlighting kit. I will link that down below, but this is an exposed, which I love. I've got just actually 2 blushes because I like blush, but I don't like live for blush. I brought one of my, and again, I brought 2 like warm ones because again, warm temperatures. I'm bringing by MAC. This is Peaches. This is a Sheer Glow blush, which is just really, really pretty. And it just, again, it's just kind of a warmy sort of peachy sort of shade, and just kind of goes with kind of any look that you're going for. I'm also bringing an oldie but goodie. I'm bringing MAC Warm Soul. I mentioned this in my favorites because I guess I was thinking about my trip and I was wanting to warm it up. So this is basically, in essence, very similar to MAC Peaches in that it's a very warm blush, but it's got a little bit of kind of like a luminescence, almost like a shimmer and a sheen to it. And so I've got 2 options, both of which are warm toned, which will work very, very nicely. Okay, onto my eyes. I got a couple things going on in here. Okay, I've got my L'Oreal Telescopic Lengthening Mascara. I've also got the Benefit They're Real mascara for a little bit of volumizing. And then in case I only feel like using one mascara, I'm bringing by It, the Superhero Mascara, another one of my most awesome favorites as of late. I've got a couple of liners in here. I've got by MAC, I've got Buried Treasure, which is a really pretty luminous, kind of like a blackened green with a little bit of shimmer eyeliner. It's actually very unique, and I've had this for a really long time. I've got by Ardency in the Modster eyeliner. This is in black, really good for your tight line, your waterline, because it really does tend to stay in place much more than some other eyeliners. I've got by Physicians Formula their 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Serum Liquid Eyeliner, just in case I feel like doing a little bit of liquid stuff. Really black, applies really, really smoothly, and for that reason, I love it. I've got one other pencil eyeliner, which I don't usually use because I like to use like shadows as liners, but I decided to pack them. Refer back to the pack rat situation that I am. This is called Teddy, also by MAC, and it's a really pretty sort of bronzy brown. It's not a flat brown. It's like a bronzy, little bit of espresso sort of a brown, and I think it looks really, really nice. It's a really good alternative to using a black liner. I'm also bringing my MAC Giga Black Lash Mascara. Extended Play Giga Black. I can never remember that name. Why does everything have to have such a long name? The Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara for my lower lashes. I've got the Anastasia Brow Wiz, of course, in taupe. I've got the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, just in case I'm feeling that. And I've also got by L'Oreal the Brow Stylist Plumper, in case I just want to add a little bit of color. Oh, I'm also bringing by Anastasia her brow powder. I don't usually do powder, and I've kind of picked that up recently. And so I'm in the shade medium brown. It looks really, really, it's a little bit on the cool side, and it's also a little bit on the light side, which is nice because I find that it works really well on the inner portions of my eyebrows. And so, yeah, that's kind of the eye section. That was the other side of the net in this case, which had mascaras and brow products in it. So that way I could find them very easily. I'm bringing a MAC Fix Plus, both for shadow application as well as refreshing my face. And then finally, I've got the Milani. They say this does everything, prime, correct, and sets, but I just like this as a setting spray. Plus, it smells really nice, and I still am a fan of the way the bottle looks. I love frosted glass. I don't know what that is, but I'm very, very drawn to it. When it comes to, I didn't think I was bringing a lot of lipstick. All right, let me start by saying that I am all over my cream sheens. I am not bringing a single liquid lipstick because I'm sure that my lips are going to be dry, and I want my lips to be very comfortable. And so let me show you what I'm bringing. I just need to let you know that as I tell you what lipsticks I'm taking, I'm going to silently be laughing at myself because I thought I was not packing a lot of lipsticks or lip products, and apparently I am. And so here we go. I got a couple of MAC cream sheens because they're super comfortable, moisturizing, but they kind of stay put. So first I've got Ravishing, which is a really pretty, just kind of definitely more on the peach side. It's kind of like a peachy coral. I've also got Shanghai Spice, which is the same idea. It's kind of like a peachy pink, but it's definitely paler. It's much more of like a nude sort of a coral shade. And then I've also got Shy Girl, of course, which is the pale peach shade, which now I'm looking, looks a lot like Shanghai Spice, but it's for my bare lip. I've gone really heavy on the eye sort of a day. I'm also bringing by Revlon the HD, I think it's a gel, they call it a gel lipstick. This is the color Sand. And this one plays off a little bit pinker, but again, really kind of pale. Looks a lot like the first other two that I just showed you, but I don't care. I've got a couple of lip glosses. I'm bringing by Anastasia, one of her lip glosses. This one is called Undressed. I'm really annoyed because it's getting harder for me to read the bottom of the lipsticks. This is much more of an opaque, but definitely kind of pinky nude sort of lip glosses. I love wearing this alone. You don't even need to use this to top anything, top it over anything, because it's just a really gorgeous gloss in and of itself. I am taking a MAC lip gloss, which a lot of people don't like MAC lip glosses. I love MAC lip glosses because they wind up staying. Some people say they're a little bit too tacky. I'm like, I really can't be bothered. They wind up staying in place. This is the shade Razzle Dazzler. Can I just say, by the way, I appreciate MAC ever so much because they actually wrote that rather large. So this is kind of a corally lip gloss. Okay, this is excessive. They all look very similar and the same. And they're all shiny. Pack rat, okay, people? Pack rat. I'm also bringing by Too Faced, one of the liquefied lipsticks. This is in the shade Melted Nude. I love this. I love this formula. It's probably the most heavy. It is probably the heaviest lipstick that I'm bringing, and it's kind of like a pinky brown. It actually smells really good too. P.S. I just almost dabbed the tip of my nose with that little lipstick there. That would have been hilarious. I've got two lip treatments. I've got by Sugar. I've got the or by Fresh Sugar Nude. Holy cow, it's by Fresh. It's their sugar lip balms or lip glosses, whatever you want to call it. I've got the shade Nude, which, hey, is also just kind of like a pinky nude. It actually has a little bit of shimmer in it, and it also has SPF in it, so that will prove to be very valuable. I'm also bringing by Bite. I'm bringing the Agave, not the lip mask, although actually I think I might go get the lip mask because I really love that lip mask, and if my lips get all chapped and dried out, that will prove to be very useful. But in the meantime, this is the same Agave lip treatment in the bullet. It's a little bit stiffer than the mask, which is in that little tubey guy, but I'm really loving this because it's nice and portable and travelable. Travelable? Can I just tell you people that I was a straight A student in school, and I am a grammar whore, and I am still just, I think, making up words as I go along. Hey, I almost let this one get away, and it's really important that you know about it because it doesn't look like any of the others. This is one of the NARS Audacious lipsticks. This is in the shade Jane, which is a gorgeous, like, tomato red. And I just thought I needed something like that, perhaps to add a little bit of fire to an evening look. If I went light on the eyes, maybe. I definitely needed to give my lips a little pop. Okay, something I didn't talk about, because I think we'd then be here forever. A couple of things. Actually, maybe I'll make separate videos on them, so that way we're not sitting here for 3 hours. I create my own shadow palette because it just makes me feel good when I travel, because then I just have everything exactly and perfectly the way that I need it. So this is the Non-Z palette by Tarte, which I love because it's a little bit larger. Also comes with a really big mirror. I've mentioned that before. Clearly I need to clean mine. So these are all of my shadows that I bring with me. I will do a separate what is in my non-Z palette video to let you know what shadows it is I'm taking with me. I will just highlight that right here, this very large one. That is actually the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the very luminescent kind of pinky silver. I can't forget what it's called. I'll link it down below, but it's their blush that I actually use as a highlighter, which seems crazy, but they've made that blush so light that it seems impossible to actually be using it as a blush. I don't know, maybe when I'm in Bermuda, I might feel like using it as a blush. I will keep you posted. Let me just say too, I listed kind of blushes and bronzers, and I listed my highlighters. I might just shuck it all. Shuck it? What, like corn? Where did that come from? I might get rid of it all, and I might take instead, I haven't decided, I might take instead, or maybe I'll take it also. I might take by Viseart. This is the Ablaze Theory. They call it the Theory Ablaze Trifecta of Perfection. This is the bronzer, blush, and highlighter, which I could actually take out and put in my non-Z palette, or a Z palette if I chose to do so. But I like how it's all contained in here. And I talked about this, I think it was in my favorites. I will link that video. But I actually love this too. And since I'm not minimalist packing right now, if I decided to add that, I feel like I should be entitled to it. The last thing I'm going to say, but I'm not going to go into, because I always take too many brushes because it just makes me feel good, okay? I like to take brushes. So this is a brush, not really a brush roll. It's more like a brush burrito. No, that would be a roll. This is a brush taco because it actually just opens up. These are all of my brushes, and they slide very nice. You've seen this before. They slide in very nicely. What I love about this particular one, this is by Sedona Lace, is that it zips all the way around. And so you can take this bad boy. Hold on one second. And zip, and everybody stays in there very, very. This is the waist strap, which now looks like a little handle. You could use this as an evening clutch, folks, if you really were in a pinch. No, I'm just kidding. So what I love about it, like I said, is that it zips around, and so everybody stays in there very nice and tight and content. And that's all I'm bringing. I think that's a lot. You don't understand. I actually pared that down from when I started. So here's my question for you. Since we're friends, do you think I'm taking too much? What would you eliminate? Would you eliminate? Did I forget anything? Should I actually have added something that I've forgotten? I can't think of anything that I've forgotten. But you can tell it like it is. You will not hurt my feelings. I like people who are blunt, and I like people who tell it like it is. Can you tell that I'm a person that likes to tell it like it is? So, tell it like it is and let me know if you think I packed too much, or maybe I forgot something, or maybe what I should leave out. I don't know. Just say hi. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I will hopefully be reporting back to you on how my trip went. I anticipate and expect to have a fabulous time. I've enjoyed the packing process, kind of evaluating my makeup. Even that in and of itself is just so exciting and so fun. Trying to decide what it is that's really important to you to take with you and then to have in your little tiny cases. Oh my gosh, I am an OCD pack rat. So anyway, thank you again for spending your time with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would definitely appreciate if you became one of my subscribers. I hope you have a good rest of the day and awesome rest of the week. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. In the meantime, thanks.
So I'm going to bring my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. It is not a 100% matte sort of, makeup setter, foundation setting Powder? Why couldn't I get that out? I am in the skin. Okay, clearly my lack of being able to find the correct words made me completely lose my mind. Let's start that whole segment all over. So let me start with my tools. These are the things that are not actually makeup or skincare related. Why would I say skincare? I'm not even doing skincare. If I did skincare in this video, we'd be here for 3 hours. This is strictly makeup. All right, we're gonna try that one more time.